Hi everyone! Today I will be reviewing the last book in the Giver series, Sun by Lois Lowry. So, to start, a little synopsis of Sun. Let's see. So, the book centers around a girl named Claire from the same community that Jonas of the beginning novel of the series, The Giver, is from. So, when the young girl Claire washes up on a distant shore, no one knew that she had been a vessel, that she had carried a product, that it had been carved from her belly, stolen. Claire had had a son, and she was supposed to forget about him, but that was impossible. When he was taken from their community, she knew she had to follow, and so her journey began. But here in this wind-battered village, Claire is welcomed as one of their own. In the security of her new home, she is free and loved. She grows stronger. As tempted as she is by the warmth of more human kindness than she has ever known, she cannot stay. Her son is out there, a young boy by now. Claire will stop at nothing to find her child, even if it means trading her own life. So, Sun focuses around Claire, like I said, a girl from the same community that Jonas was in the same time of Jonas. In the same time frame as The Giver, in fact. That's where the book starts. It starts with the events occurring around The Giver. So when Jonas, P.S. everyone, spoilers if you haven't read The Giver and Gathering Blue and The Messenger, so just be aware. So, it follows the same timeline at the beginning. So, Claire is about 2 years older than Jonas. So, at the beginning, we see Jonas's ceremony where he receives his place in the community through Claire's eyes. So, we find out that he becomes the receiver of all the information from the Giver and that he leaves with a baby. The catch is, the baby is Claire's son. Claire gave birth to her son, but however, she was not able to give birth properly. She had to have what we call C-section. So she had to have a C-section, and in their community, the birth mothers are supposed to just give birth naturally and not have other means, because it seems like they're unfit to give birth a second time, because like in our day and age, you can't have a C-section more than, I believe it's 3 times. And back then, not back then, but in their sort of archaic community, it seems like they wouldn't want to risk that another time. So the one time, and after that one birth, Claire is sent to a different task. But she sees that Jonas leaves with her son. And she develops a bond with her son because she visits him every day at the nursery he's at, and Jonas's father is taking care of him, but Jonas leaves with him. And Claire cannot stay in the community knowing that her son is missing. So she tries to follow him, but ends up on the shores of this other village, this other community far away from her own. And though she loses her memory, she gains it and starts to be accepted by the people there and starts to develop familial connections with the healer in the community, some of the local children, some of the local mothers, and a man who she develops a relationship with. But even with all this great feeling within her and all this difference from her own community, she still is missing that same thing, her son, and she can't live without him. So she leaves this village to go and find him, and we end up going back to the village where Maddie was, where Kira ended up going at the end of The Messenger, and what ensues I will leave to the reader. This book was very thrilling because if you had read every single novel before, you were excited to see that, oh my gosh, that that happened in The Giver. Oh my gosh, that's Maddie they're talking about. And it's just great to make those connections. And I really like how Lois Lowry played that timeline. How this book starts with the first one, and it goes through all the events, and then it wraps up in this one. So it's after the events of The Messenger. I believe it's a couple years later at this point. You can tell because certain things happen in the village that Maddie was from that kind of indicate a lot of time has passed since the end of The Messenger. So in that sense, you love making those connections. It's so interesting to a reader to find them. Because you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like, where's Waldo? I found it. It also had the same elements of evil again, because certain characters from the other books make appearances again, besides the ones that I've already mentioned. And it's up to Claire's son to defeat the evil this time, because it always seems to be the male, unfortunately. Like, except for, there was Kira, of course. Kira did try to defeat the evil within her own community that was there, but it wasn't as big of a step. It seemed as like Jonas taking the baby and the giver and just leaving and not having anything to do with that community, and Maddie giving up, spoiler, his life for the village, and then now in Son it's to save someone. But Kira, it was kind of like slow. So I wish that Lois Lowry had done more with Kira as a female protagonist, but even so in this novel, I'm not going to tell you the name of Claire's son, but even so, Claire's son is a great hero. He's not in the whole book. Of course, Claire is, technically I would think she's the protagonist, but in the end it seems like she is not as active of a protagonist as her son is. But the book was amazing, regardless of any sort of qualms I have regarding female and male protagonists. They're all great protagonists. They all do amazing things in the novels. They all fight for the right thing, as protagonists are liable to do. But this protagonist, Claire's son, he doesn't know what's going on. He's very confused. He's very out of touch because no one's told him about his mother or where he came from, because obviously Jonas brought him to the village when he left with him all those years ago, and he grew up in the village, but Jonas isn't his father. He doesn't know who his father is. He doesn't know who his mother is, and he wants to leave to find out where he came from and answer all these questions he has. So that's kind of like, it's a self-identifying aspect of the novel. He wants to know who he is because he doesn't, and he gets his answers though, which is nice. So if you like Lois Lowry, gosh, just read all of these novels because it's so sweet. I love the romance that there is. There's a little bit of romance. It's very cute. I love the community that she creates, the different types of communities, even the ones that aren't the nicest, like even the community that they come from in the beginning. It's like steps of the community. So like the beginning community, everything is very rigid. There's rules for everything. Everyone has a specific task. But then the next village, it's still sort of similar. Everyone has their own tasks, but they're not obliged to do them, and only them, and they're not chosen for them. People get to choose their own paths, and things aren't as strict, but there still are rules. And then the last village, everyone is accepting of everyone, no matter what you did in your past. And I just like how it progresses from like very narrow-minded society to a very open-minded society, and that's, I think, kind of representative of our community today in a way, we can be very narrow-minded amidst all this. It seems like we're very modern and open-minded because of all these inventions and technology and different ideas, but in reality, we're still pretty narrow-minded. And I think Lois Lowry is trying to open our eyes to that fact, that despite everything that we've created and we've done, we still have that part of us that is closed off and doesn't want to be open to new things and new experiences and new ideas. And I think she represents that very well in these novels. So, great reads. I hope you pick them up soon. And until I see you next, happy reading.